What is going on, guys? Dinner vs. All Gaming with my review of Akame Got Killed episode 18. And this episode, I will say, Lubbock, he was definitely the star. He had a pretty good fight, and not only that, he had two good fights, and he actually won both of them. And his opponents, it's not like they were some fodder kind of characters. These guys right here, they definitely weren't, Jaeger's level, but obviously, they were highly praised and well known, in the capital. So these guys, they weren't like some random fodder characters. They actually, did have an impressive track record in the series. And we see now first, the episode itself, it starts off with like Tatsumi. He was thinking about Shelley, Blulant, and Chelsea. He was thinking that like he had wanted to spend more time with them, and obviously, their death, they are still affecting him. And so because of that, he actually could not sleep, but he did have to wake up. And we see now that it was Mime that was like calling out to him and finally got him to come out. And so right now they are finally at the city where like this religion is, and we see that not only is Night Raid there, but the Jakers are as well. And we see now that the one that the capital have wanted to watch, this like leader guy, he's like actually a pimp, because we see he had all these women around him, and it was just all up on him. And so we see that even though even the Jaegers, even though they are there, we see now that they were like these four demons that were known in the capital, and FF knew them, because like she was surprised to see them, but it made sense because she had not seen them in a while. And so the fact that these four demons and the Jaegers were there, it goes to show how paranoid this guy was, because obviously he definitely does not want to die, but he does not trust the Jaegers all that well, or I'm guessing he does not have that much faith in the four demons, because why get all this backup if you already have some there. But we do see that Siru, God, I hate this girl, but she was like trying to warn them that it was impossible to defeat an Imperial Army user without one. But these demons here, they had kind of like proved her wrong by like showing off their own skill, because one of them had got behind her so easily, and this guy, he was like freaky. But we did see that like Karome, she is definitely not alright. She seems so freaking exhausted, and we get the flashback now when she came back to the capital after, of course, she had killed Chelsea, and we see now that like she had collapsed, but Wave, he was like right there. And of course, Wave felt so freaking bad, because if like he was there, then obviously he could have made a difference, and it's possible that Karame never would have got hurt, and it's also possible that like Bolus never would have died. And so Wave here, he was like beating himself up, and Run was like trying to comfort him, but I have a feeling that right there was not working too much. But luckily, they had got Karome inside, and she was like resting up, because right now, she was still asleep. But after FF and all that came in there, she like finally woke up, and we learned the sad truth about what happened to Chelsea's body. And Siru, Siru had Koro eat that, and I'm not gonna lie, that right there pissed me off, because not only did they embarrass her by like putting her head on a pole, but now her body, it was eaten by Koro. So it's not like they could give her, like a proper burial or something, because her body is now in the stomach of some Imperial Alarm, and we have no idea whether or not Tatsumi actually took her head from that pole, or if he left it there. But obviously obviously after that, Karome did wake up, and even though she did seem fine, SDF was not really sure. But we do see that after SDF had tried to kick her and she blocked it, FDF allowed her, to continue working for her, even though Karome is definitely not 100%. After all that, you can't really blame it. It made perfect sense for her, to be in this kind of state, because she should have died. Yeah, it's like definitely difficult to kill her, but it doesn't mean she'll be okay after an attempt like that. And so now we have Karome's character, like struggling to get back to her former self, because we see that when the Jaegers left, Wade was like the only one to really notice what was going on with her, and we have him going after her, in her room. And so now, and now after that, he was like definitely worried about her, and he actually, wanted her to like retreat from the front lines, so that way. So that way she would not be, in like any more danger, and she could actually rest up properly, till she was back. But Kuroma here, she was like worried that if she was like unable to fight, then they might get rid of her, because she definitely not immortal. She's hard to kill, but it is possible. So like anybody or people in the capital, they can't kill her if she's useless, and that right there is what she's worried about. And so now, like her and Wave here, they kind of have to keep this a secret, so obviously it won't spread out. But it was definitely nice to see these two bonding, because normally before we always have Kurome teasing and picking on Wave, and so now we have them bonding like this. It's definitely nice to see. But then we go to Tatsumi and Mime. They were out in the city, and they were like investigating, and so we see now like Mime here, she was like definitely on guard. She was like checking her surroundings so much, and obviously that right there could get her exposed. But we see Tatsumi, he is actually matured a lot, and he bought them he bought them some kind of snack. I have no idea what it is. But we see now that like Tatsumi's character, it had come a long way. Even though Chelsea's death is getting to him, he is still focusing on the mission, and he actually not really slacking at all. But obviously they do have to get rid of this guy like in control right now, because this religion, it is definitely like something dangerous, because this guy is obviously planning something. But then we have Lubbock, who was sticking out like a sore thumb, because this guy, he like the only one wearing like this, wearing a hood over his head. And not only that, we have these other two demons. They were like able to tell right away, because he stood out like that from the way he walked, and obviously like from the action, because he was picking up on intel. But he also had wanted to do a good job, so he could get praise from my agenda. But when like finishes about that, he was actually thinking of her naked, and that right there, it was kind of funny. But now we have these two demons, tracking him. But then we go to Akame, who was like talking with the two father characters, and they were like giving her an update on the situation. And apparently they found like this underground path that they could use, to get into the church and take out this guy. But we see that while they were talking, we have this freaky demon, because this guy, he just so freaking creepy. He comes out of nowhere, and he actually decapitates these two characters. So now we learn that like him and Akame, they actually knew each other back from our younger days. And so that right there was definitely interesting to find out. But we see that when he actually threw their heads at Akame, that right there pissed her off, and she was now charging in. But apparently these demons, they have been through like this very intense training where they can actually control their body like at will. And we see the guy, he was like able to extend like fingernails. He also extended his arm as well. And we see now that like he had made these spikes come out of his body while fighting Akame, and luckily she did dodge them. But that right there, it was kind of like impressive on his part, and also weird at the same time, because obviously the way he moves is like very, very freaky. But not only that, we also have those two demons who were like chasing after Lubbock as well. Like he also had to confront them. But luckily Lubbock, he had this idea where he had these threads wrapped around his body, and he used that to absorb this blow from the older gentleman. And so Lubbock's plan here, it was actually to play dead, because not only did he stop his own pulse, but he did put on like a very good act. But sadly enough, like this other spy that was out, and that's supposed to be Lubbock, she was actually caught by the girl, and now we have this older man, choking her. And Lubbock, at first he apologized, for like not being able to save her, because you would think that like he leave her to die, but it turns out he can't do that. And so he finally dropped his possum act, and so now he like confronting those two demons. But then we go back to Akame versus Ibarra, I believe his name was, and we see now that Akame could not get him close close enough, to like slash him with a sword, because this guy, he could extend his limbs and protect himself like that. And so we see that eventually Akame actually, like lets him take her sword. And because this guy, insulted the sword, we had like this black evil aura coming from it. And at first I thought maybe that right there, will like possibly hurt him in some way. But that wasn't the case. But it did allow Akame, to get on her soldiers, and we see now that like she had broke his neck, but that right there did not kill him. But Akame here is actually, like kind of like battle smart, because that right there was like good on her part, and she even got her sword back. And we see that when this guy lost his cool, it allowed Akame, to go in there, and she like cut his torso and his arms. So that right there was awesome. Akame was like definitely impressive. And so we see now that before, I almost forgot this, that in this guy final moments, he had told Akame that like he could fall for her. And I also remember now that in the beginning of the episode, he told Estef that as well, when like Estef had like this ice sword pointing at him. But we see now that Akame, she like was kind of tired, and we have Ron come out of nowhere and try to attack her with a sneak attack, obviously, but Akame did dodge it. But Ron here is like definitely smart, which like makes perfect sense why he's kind of like Estef's assistance, because his only job here, it was only to like gather information, and he definitely got a lot of it about her sword. And so so because he had no reason to stay there, he would obviously leave. But then we go back to Lubbock, who was still fighting against these other two demons. And I will say, these threats, they might not seem that impressive at first, but they actually are. They're like so freaking sturdy, and we see Lubbock doing really well with them. Like even though he really could not deliver like a good blow, because we see now that even when he brought out his healing ability, this older man, he had still blocked it. But this right here was like only being used for like a distraction, because Lubbock's real intention, it was to allow the girl to get away. And when she was gone, Lubbock got the hell out of there. And so we see now that the older man, he was pissed off, obviously, and like there was no way he would let Lubbock get away. And so now we see that when like charging after him, we learn more about Lubbock's Imperial Arm, and it actually comes from this fur class, fur mega class danger beast. And so when we like see this beast, it actually has the form of a dragon. But apparently Lubbock here, he can use he can use thread from it, like thread from the dragon that are so freaking sharp, it's like impossible to like cut through them. And we see now that when the guy had charged in there, not only did his beard bend from it, but we see that the thread itself, it was like cutting into his neck. And Lubbock here used his thread spear, to impale his body. But that right there would not be the way that like Lubbock would kill him. And Lubbock here, this guy went like full badass mode, I'm not gonna lie. I was just so impressed with him, because he had used these threads to wrap around this guy's heart, and that right there, allow him, to cut her heart into pieces, because obviously there's no way he could survive that, so he died. But now we see that the girl, she's actually a lot more powerful, and definitely a lot more faster, because she has these weights on her, and when she took them off, we like saw her true skill. And Lubbock here, he knew he had to fight her, because obviously now this girl knows way too much about his Imperial Arm, so there was no way like he could let her live. But we see this girl, she uses her own sweat, but in the form of like oil though, to weigh down his wires, because he did put out the barrier so she cannot escape. But this girl here was like set on killing him anyway, and we see that like she was like much stronger than the old man, because when she punched Lubbock, he actually could not really stand, and he said that like if he took another punch like that, then he would like die for sure. So obviously this girl, she was like definitely powerful. And we see now that we should like walking toward Lubbock, and like an act of desperation, or at least that is what it seemed like, we have him, throwing these knives at her, and she obviously, dodged that with no problem. But when she picks up Lubbock now, and it seems like she's gonna kill them with like some kind of energy or aura attack. I'm not really sure what it was. We just saw like the black aura around her fist. He actually calls back those knives, and that right there, impales her in the back, and that right there, which is brilliant on his part. Like I really applaud Lubbock for how smart he is, with his Imperial arm, because obviously, she like never saw that coming, and he did kill her, but then it was like kind of a waste because he actually found her to be pretty cute. But now we go back to Mime and Tasumi, who were like arguing as always, because these two are like always butting head no matter what. But then we have this one guy from the church, like he said like normally he searches the area for like trouble or something, but this guy, he was saying that like Mime and Tasumi, they actually belong together, and that right there was hilarious, because it was like they have refused to believe that, because to them it was a load of BS. But now we see that this leader, he actually had this girl in there, and apparently this girl here, he wants her to serve like some higher purpose, but there was like something wicked in her body, and like only he could like get rid of it. And so what the guy had her do, like a straight up pervert, he had to strip down, and so now we see that. Now we see that before he could like really enjoy himself, we have this random guard coming in there and telling him that like three of the 4 demons are now dead. So obviously now the guy is definitely worried, because his guards, like they taken out so easily, because he lost 3 one episode. But we do have the Jaegers. More importantly, Siru, she was kind of like happy about this, because obviously it meant that only the Jaegers could give out punishment like that, and so obviously with this guy learning about three other demons dead, it's pretty safe to say that like he will use the Jaegers now. So that right there should be definitely foreshadowing something. But the episode itself, it was good. We have Lubbock going in, Akame being a bad like always, and so with that I'm gonna give the episode an 8 out of 10. But of course, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. And as always, don't forget to like the video and subscribe, because it really helps me out. And you guys take it easy. I will see you all next time.